I sometimes avoid long conversations. It's not because I don't like to talk, nor because I have nothing to say. It's just that at some point in my life, I realized that talking can be exhausting when the other person isn't truly listening. Some people talk just to talk. They fill the space with words, but not with meaning. And when I notice this, something inside me goes silent. I learned that there is a type of tiredness that doesn't come from the body. It comes from the mind. It's the exhaustion of having to sustain dialogues that lead nowhere, of having to smile, answer, participate, even when everything in me just craves silence. It's not shyness, and it's not arrogance either. It's just a choice, a way to preserve emotional energy. When you feel things deeply, every word has weight. Every conversation, even the simplest one, requires concentration, empathy, and attention. And when the other person speaks, just to fill the time, you feel like you're losing a piece of yourself in all that noise. Often, I prefer the silence of a sincere presence over the chatter of someone who doesn't really want to be there. Avoiding long conversations, for me, is a way to maintain true connections, the ones that don't need so much noise to exist. I've been told I'm distant, reserved, even cold, but what few realize is that when the topic is deep, I could talk for hours. I just don't know how to sustain the superficial. I don't know how to feign interest when I feel the conversation is empty. Maybe I unlearned how to converse out of habit. People talk, but rarely listen. They want to be understood, but almost never want to understand. And that's when I learned to listen more and talk less. At first, it felt like loneliness. But then I realized it was freedom. There's an enormous peace in not having to fill every second with words. I like to think that silence is also a type of dialogue. A dialogue between what I think and what the world is trying to tell me. And the more I learn to listen to that silence, the more I realize how much people waste the beauty of falling silent. Avoiding long conversations is also a sign that I value the essential. If someone can understand me with few words, that person is close enough. I don't need to explain every detail or justify every pause. Those who truly understand me know that silence is a part of who I am. Sometimes, I think long conversations tire me because they require a mask of lightness, of friendliness, of energy. And when I have to wear it for too long, I feel drained. That's why I save my speech for when it truly matters, for when someone asks, "Are you okay?" and genuinely wants to know. For when I realize the conversation is going to take me somewhere real. There is also a hidden fear in this, fear of opening up too much, of saying too much, of being misunderstood. So, I summarize. I cut short. I avoid prolonging what might expose me. And most of the time, no one notices. People just think I'm quiet. But inside me, there is a multitude of thoughts I never say out loud. It's funny, because those who truly know me understand. When I speak, it's because it genuinely moved me. I'm not the type to talk out of obligation. I speak when I feel the other person will understand. And when I realize they won't, silence feels much more honest. The truth is, talking too much sometimes disconnects me from myself. I start hearing my own voice and realize I'm repeating what others expect. And that bothers me because I prefer to say less and feel more. I prefer to listen to the sound of a sincere breath than the echo of a forced conversation. And I know that for many people, this sounds strange, We live in a world that values those who speak loudly, who dominate the conversation, who always have an opinion. But in the midst of this noise, I discovered that there's wisdom in keeping quiet, because silence doesn't lie. Words sometimes lie unintentionally. Avoiding long conversations for me is not detachment, it's a filter. It's a way to keep my mind clean, light, without the excess noise that prevents me from hearing what matters. When I remain silent, I can listen to my own thoughts. I can understand what I feel, what I want, what I really need to say. Not everyone understands this. Some feel rejected. Others think I'm sad or irritated. But in reality, I'm just reorganizing myself internally. For me, silence is the interval between two truths: what I think and what I manage to put into words. And in that space, I find myself there, without having to justify anything, without having to maintain the pace of a conversation that has lost its meaning. There, where the only voice is mine, and it doesn't need to be loud. Sometimes, I realize that the world fears silence because it reveals too much. In a long conversation, you can hide who you are. But in silence, you see yourself head on. No distractions, no masks, no rehearsed phrases. And that scares people. Perhaps that's why I like to be quiet, because in silence, I am genuine, and I prefer the solitary truth over the comfort of an empty dialogue. Some people think those who avoid long conversations are cold, but I think the opposite. We feel so much, observe so much, that we get worn out quickly, and to avoid the exhaustion of feeling too much, we choose to save words, to speak only when the soul asks and not when the world demands. There are days when I would like to talk for hours, but I realize that the most beautiful part of connections lies in what is left unsaid, in the look that understands, in the small gesture, in the shared silence. These are the moments that make me want to stay. When I avoid a long conversation, it's not because I don't want to be with someone. It's because I want to be truly present, even if in silence. And if the other person can stay by my side without being bothered by the silence, then something rare exists there. There is comfort, there is harmony, there is love. In the end, avoiding long conversations is just another way of choosing depth, of preferring the essential, of understanding that true connection does not need to be constant or noisy. It just needs to be sincere. I don't talk much, but when I do, it's because every word has passed through a filter of feeling. And when I fall silent, it's because what I feel doesn't fit into words. So, if one day I become quiet, don't pressure me to continue the conversation. Maybe silence is all I need to say. And if you understand that, it means our conversation was already complete, even without lasting long.